Joining us by phone, Ed Mills, Washington policy analyst at Raymond James. Ed, we're waiting to hear confirmation of Caleb's reporting and others that the Republicans are going to present a $200 bump to unemployment benefits. Currently, that's at $600. It expires at the end of this week. This is just the opening salvo for Republicans. What's going to happen to those people on unemployment benefits, the more than 30 million of them right now under the CARES Act?
Yeah, no, it's obviously the last check so far has been sent for most of these unemployed individuals. And so unless Congress acts, that next check is not coming. Our expectation is that Congress will act, as you highlighted. A $200 per week extension is what the opening bid from Republicans will be. We've been of the belief that it will settle in closer to the $300 to $400 range. And we think when you hear kind of the conversation about it should match pre-pandemic wages or it should be, kind of not a disincentive to return to work at a $300 per week, that puts the benefit with the average state benefit at about $330, right at the median wage in the United States. And so I think that we could see negotiations going towards establishing unemployment at the median wage in the United States.
I guess at the other point on the unemployment question, though, is the base level states' unemployment benefits, the median of that typically lasts 6 months, which would be sort of sometime in September if you lost your job in March. So even if we get some extension of the CARES Act boost to unemployment benefit, there's still all sorts of other cliff edges as we go through the rest of this year.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I think that what we need to remind ourselves is that with COVID-19, the economic impact has caused such a demand shock that we do have tens of millions of Americans without jobs. And unfortunately, we do not have tens of millions of job openings in areas that things are just not fully safe to reopen. So the Federal Reserve is kind of doing whatever it takes. So far, Congress has stepped up and has passed a massive amount of fiscal support to this economy. And the expectation that we have is Congress is going to continue that. It might take a little bit longer than we'd hope. One thing I'd highlight in the CARES Act, we don't see an S that stands for state and local government. Right now, it only stands for schools. What we do know from the Great Recession is that supporting state and local government funding is one of the ways in which we can exit out of an economic crisis sooner rather than later.
Well, and keep jobs, which is really what this whole thing is about. Can you just explain quickly, Ed? McConnell says that liability protection is going to be a key focus here. What exactly is that about, and where are the Democrats on that?
Yeah, so what we've heard from Republicans is that there will not be a Phase 4 bill unless there are liability protections. What we've seen from Democrats is that in the HEROES Act that congressional Democrats passed 2 months ago, there was no liability protections. Democrats have generally stated that they're not in favor of this, but they haven't demonized it either. I think Democrats recognize that this is the price for getting Phase 4 done, and that they will be willing to do some level of liability protection as long as there's state and local aid, as long as there is an extension of unemployment benefits, and as long as there is another round of fiscal stimulus checks. That protection probably is going to be kind of more limited than Republicans would like, but generally speaking, it's not going to allow individuals to sue businesses or their employer if they get COVID.
And just quickly wanted to get your take on the election. I mean, some of the polls of late, of course, as everyone's covered, have given Vice President Biden a big lead, but the betting market still puts it at quite a small lead. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, we have said that if the election were to held today, that we do give Biden the edge, but there is still almost 100 days to this election. We're at the anniversary of the widest poll lead that Dukakis had back in 1988. There is a ton of time between now and the election, but right now, Biden is well positioned. Senate Democrats are positioned to make a run at the Senate majority in a Democratic sweep. It's something that the market should be paying attention to.
Ed Mills, as always, thanks very much.
Thank you.